Welcome to News Laundry Chota Hafta. For the full episode, subscribe because it is behind the paywall and only subscribers get access to uncut, complete content. News Laundry Hafta is our weekly wrap of all that made the news, all that didn't, and all that should have and all that shouldn't have. We agree, we disagree, we critique, and occasionally we beat each other up. But it's all good fun. Subscribe.
This is a News Laundry podcast and you're listening to NL Hafta.
अंग्रेज अपना लगान और न्यूज़ लॉन्ड्री अपना हफ्ता कभी नहीं छोड़ते. This is yet another episode of Hafta, and we bring you this Hafta on a very tragic day. Our colleague Ashish Yachuri passed away this morning. He had been struggling with COVID for the last 2 weeks almost, and he was associate editor on Desk. All the stories that you read on News Laundry in high likelihood would have passed through his eyes and his editing. And he had a contribution to make in pretty much anything that you read on our website in the last 4 months. He joined us in January, and he was a wonderful hard worker. And so it's a tragic day for us, but we will continue to report and record. So thank you for joining us. Joining me on the panel today from our homes, and we are not working out of office for the last week or two, I guess. Not even the Hafta staff goes to office. Raman Kripal. Hi, Raman sir.
Hi.
Manisha Pandey, who has been in Bengal for almost a month, and now she's back.
Hi.
And joining us is Arunabh Saikia. Arunabh, where are you right now?
I'm in Guwahati.
You're in Guwahati. Okay. So Arunabh, those of you who are old-time listeners of our podcasts and consumers of News Laundry already know Arunabh. He was with us till about, I think, 3 years ago. Arunabh, when did you leave us? 3 years ago, right? 3.5.
5
How
years
long?
ago.
5 years ago. Wow, it's that long.
It's been longer, much longer.
Wow. Okay. So, and he's now with Scroll. He's doing some excellent reporting from Guwahati. So we shall start off. But first, let's get the headlines of what all made the news.
Yeah.
So, Manisha, yours.
India has recorded 3.16 lakh cases in the last 24 hours and over 2,000 deaths. There was a tragic incident in Nasik hospital where an oxygen tank leaked and killed 22 people. The Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has ordered a high-level inquiry. The Delhi government has been accusing Uttar Pradesh for curbing supply of oxygen to the capital. They've also accused Haryana of stealing oxygen from a tanker. So 3 governments are trading accusations amongst each other. Meanwhile, on Twitter, you can, I think almost every half hour or 1 hour, you can see some doctor or the other or some hospital or the other posting SOS for oxygen. Supreme Court has stayed Allahabad High Court order imposing lockdown in 5 UP cities. In response to shortage of medical oxygen across states, Indian Railways is getting ready to transport liquid medical oxygen and oxygen cylinders across the key corridors of the country. The demand for oxygen in hospitals has reportedly gone up 600 to 800% over the past few days. Former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had written to Prime Minister Narendra Modi to ramp up vaccination efforts. This was responded to by the Health Minister, whose response I think wasn't very graceful at all. COVID-19 has disrupted food security for millions and is likely to reverse progress on ending hunger by 2030, said Health Minister Harshvardhan. The central government has declared that all citizens who are 18 or above can now get vaccinated from May 1st. Thieves steal 1,700 COVID vaccine doses from Jind Hospital, sweep entire district stocks. Meanwhile, BJP East Delhi MP Gautam Gambhir offered free antiviral drug Fabiflu from his local office. He said that you can come with your Aadhaar and take these medicines. This, even though there's a serious shortage of this medicine across, and opposition has accused him of hoarding the drug and questioning him if he could legally distribute it. BJP's Shishir Chaudhary also sold large stocks of Cadila Healthcare's Remdac and Brook Pharma's Corovir in Nandubar and Jalgaon district. The Mumbai police on Saturday night summoned the director of Brook Pharma Private Limited over Remdesivir Road. This is a very curious case that we can discuss. The Jharkhand Mukti Morcha has disclosed the name of the sole donor who contributed to the party through controversial electoral bond scheme. They received a sum of 1 crore from Hindalco Industries. This is the first political party to disclose its donations. A special investigation team of the CID has been constituted to conduct the probe in the incident which happened during the 4th phase of polling in Sitalkuchi in Kuch Bihar. BJP has decided to stop large rallies in West Bengal amid COVID surge and restrict crowd to 500. Though if you saw Amit Shah's rally today and Mamta's rally also, it just doesn't seem like it's a restricted crowd. The Election Commission has faced censure from Calcutta High Court over its handling of the ongoing mammoth 8-phase election in Bengal in the middle of a lethal COVID second wave. And in a first, Bengal has crossed the 10,000 mark. They've logged more than 10,000 fresh cases over the past 24 hours and 58 deaths. Derek Chauvin has been charged guilty of murder and manslaughter in George Floyd case.
Right. Thank you. So those are our headlines. We will get straight into the discussion, which will revolve largely around COVID. But before that, just want to appeal to many of you to subscribe to News Laundry and pay to keep news free. We don't depend on advertising. If you've seen our website, it doesn't have a single ad, and we like to keep it that way. We would like to remain powered by subscribers, and we have come a long way since we started this 9 years ago. So do consider subscribing to News Laundry, because when the public pays, the public is served, and when advertisers pay, advertisers served. We'd like to remain fiercely independent. We have recently won a case, in fact, just 2 days ago, on which Sakal Times had put on us for reporting on their layoffs, etc. Not only had they taken us to court for civil defamation, asking for 62 crores or 68 crores or something of that sort, but they had also filed a criminal FIR against our reporter Prateek. We had challenged it in the High Court of Bombay High Court, and after I think about 7 or 8 hearings, that FIR has been quashed. We have won that case, and we would like to reiterate that we will continue to take on legacy media and any other powers that be. We are not going to take down any videos that have been asked of us from the Times Group either, and we shall take that to court as well. And we shall continue to fight that in court. And those of you who did contribute for the NL Sena fund, thank you for the legal fund. It is because of people like you we can continue to remain as independent and as we are.
Very early on the pandemic, we knew that if there's one life-saving commodity against this virus, it is oxygen, right? So in October, and we've always had a dearth of oxygen. People died not just for COVID, but for a range of range of things, starting from Japanese encephalitis to even something as small as snake bites. So in October, the center floated bids, to set up 150 PSA oxygen generation plants, costing just rupees 200 crores. And in December, those contracts were awarded, and we found out that of those 150, and they were later increased to 162, barely 30 of them are up and running. So why they are important? This PSA oxygen plants or pressure swing absorption oxygen plants, they're essentially smaller units, right? Even if there's 162 or up and all of 162 of them were up and running by now, they wouldn't be enough to meet what our demands are right now. But they're particularly important in small district hospitals, which are not close to big oxygen manufacturing plants, because these plants are essentially on-site plants. Oxygen is produced in the hospital from air, and directly and through pipes it goes to beds. There's a bed which are connected to the pipes which are connected to the plant. So they were very crucial, and they were all the more crucial because there is a serious another story which will be coming up on Scroll hopefully today. There is a serious lack of oxygen cylinders. There's a serious dearth of oxygen cylinders and cryogenic vessels, which are essentially tanks where bigger hospitals store oxygen. So we don't have them at all right now. There's a huge crisis. So these plants would have made a huge difference, particularly in smaller places. But incredibly, not even 30 of them are fully functional. So
these hospitals are the government hospitals, right?
These are all government hospitals.
So are we to assume that private hospitals have these plants, most of them, or they don't?
Most private hospitals do not have these plants. Some do, but
Because there is a clearance, there's some government clearance also for these plants, right? You have to get an environment clearance to have this captive plant.
Right. It's not very, because also, the thing about these plants is that they are inexpensive compared to those big plants right now, right? For example, the plant in Faridabad where we saw that fracas happen. Those are big plants. Those are called oxygen separation units, and those take around 24 months to build. But this PSA plants, with on-site plants, which hospitals can have, take barely 4 to 6 weeks. So it's quite something that, and as I told you, right, 200 crores, 200 crores for 150 plants. And that's nothing, that's pittance, But the fact that, we did not even manage to set them up, tells a thing or two about, our response.
No, I see. First, what Arnab has said, I mean, the dedicated oxygen plants for the hospitals is the right way of going. But I was talking to some officials. Arnab, correct me if I'm wrong, but somebody told me that right now India requires around 4,000 to 5,000 metric ton of oxygen a day. Okay. And if you look at our industrial plants plus the oxygen plant, even the industrial plants, when I say the steel plants, all put together, we are producing 7,000 metric ton of oxygen every day. Okay. So, but there is no planning whatsoever. So if you want to meet even the existing demand, they could have met it, by closing down these big steel plants, JSW. See, each one of these steel plants has got an oxygen generation plant. They apparently, I don't know so much science of it, but they said that they trap the air and then they convert it into nitrogen, argon, and oxygen. And of this, 70% of it is nitrogen, 20% of it is argon, and 10% of it is oxygen. So that's the process that they go through. We have enough oxygen, but there was no plan of distribution, how they're going to distribute in times of crisis. Now, having said that, the Delhi situation, you have just spoken about these 4 or 5 hospitals, making SOS call over social media, which is pretty right, because Delhi has been allocated, 370 metric ton of supply a day. Okay, but they got only 178 or 177 metric ton yesterday. Okay, I mean, this is the center which has allocated to Delhi, but they got only 177, and it clearly shows the high-handedness of the state governments. I mean, UP and Haryana, they were not letting these companies which are located in these states passing.
But what is the legality of that? I mean, just because I'm, the chief minister of a state, my police can't just stop. Like, if I have a factory and there's something going, you can't just stop me from, moving. I mean, surely that's like a mob rule. I mean,
no legality involved. There's no legality involved. It's complete dadagiri. It's a complete dadagiri. There's no legality involved.
I think it's just very disgrace.
St. Stephen's case is very strange, because we spoke to a doctor who very clearly told us that Lind has told him that their units is the organization that's making O2. It's oxygen, it's a big company. It's quite a big one. And so those are the guys responsible for supplying oxygen to St. Stephen's Hospital. So he very clearly told us that officials from the Lind organization have told us that our units have been sealed and Haryana government is not allowing us supply. But when we called the DC, the collector, Garima, her name is Garima Mittal, she very clearly absolutely denied. And we spoke to multiple Haryana spokespersons also, who said that no, obviously we're not doing anything like this and there's no such thing happening. And within, I think, 2 hours of St. Stephen's doctor issuing an SOS, they did finally get the supply. So I really don't know what happened there, but you're seeing this continuously, not just with this one hospital, but I think every 1 hour or so, you see some of the other hospital issuing this SOS saying that we're going to run out. We just have 1 hour left, or we have 6 hours left. We have 8 hours left. So this is very, very alarming. And more like St. Stephen's had a load of 300 patients when they had, so just the the tension of knowing that you have 300 patients and you just have 2 hours left. It's
No,
just
I mean, just to give you an idea that this is Dr. Sangeeta Reddy, and this is her Twitter bio. It's a verified handle. She's a joint managing director of Apollo Hospital Group, and she has also been the president of FICCI in the past. I quote, "As I tweet, an oxygen tanker is outside the gate of Air Liquid Panipat plant at IOCL, and he is not being allowed inside. Haryana police are stopping it and not letting the oxygen out of Haryana. Need urgent intervention." She has tagged Piyush Goyal, Rajnath Singh, the Prime Minister. She has also tagged the Chief Minister of Haryana and the Ministry of Health. So she is just one. There are many such tweets. So I have no idea how the Haryana government is being allowed to get away with this. Your legacy media, predictably, is too busy filing cases against News Laundry and sucking up to the government to shine a light on this. But this is disgusting. It is at a vile level, which I would not have imagined even a government as pathetic as the BJP's would actually fall.
Also, I mean, I just, as Raman said, was pointing out, but I don't mean to be alarmist here, but just done some reporting and some calculations and spoken to government officials yesterday and today. The government for the longest time, on the 15th of April, the government said that our oxygen requirement is less than 60% of the country's total production, which is 7,127 metric tons. So on 12th April, the government said that on 12th of April, it was 3,842 metric tons. So that's barely 54%. So, but we have to understand that those numbers are very, very stale. On the 12th of April, we had 12,64,000 people. The requirement then was 3,842 metric tons. Now that caseload has gone up by 70% to 21,57,000. In fact, government official in court yesterday, during that Max hearing, actually conceded that demand right now is at least 8,000 metric tons, and our total production is 7,127 metric tons. Out of that, 9 industries, they are not exempted. They're exempted. Industrial oxygen is still being diverted to them, and that, according to my sources in the government, is 2,500 metric tons. So essentially, we have 4,600 metric tons and a demand of 8,000 metric tons. And we have a stock of 50,000, the government claims, but even at that rate, the stock will not last more than 2 weeks. And the cases will go up, by the way.
I think the BBC report is a must watch. It's amazing that we have so many 24/7 channels with so much money and so many resources, all stationed in Noida. But there's nothing on TV news that's telling us of the tragedy that's unfolding in UP, leave alone Delhi or places around. And I think that a BBC report really captures what's happening right now. It's a short report, but it's really an essential watch. And our colleague Akanksha also went to 4 hospitals in Uttar Pradesh. She's also put out a video report just capturing scenes from outside these hospitals and just how harrowing it's been. I think even if this is disturbing watch, we should watch it. We do have to face this, and be angry and demand questions. And you can't allow the media to lull you into a sense of positivity like a lot of these anchors, when you switch on the TV, they're just saying, be positivity, we'll fight this together. I think it's time to be angry and to be, shaken by what's happening around us.
All of you listening in, the Chota Hafta, do subscribe so you can listen to the entire Hafta. We will see you again next week with the Hafta. Till then, subscribe, pay to keep news free, because when the public pays, the public is served, and advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Thank you. Goodbye.
All the News Laundry podcasts are available on Stitcher, iTunes, and any other podcast platform.
Please subscribe to News Laundry. Help us keep news independent. To catch all our podcasts on news, pop culture, current affairs, and sport, visit newslaundry.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Sun liya Afrika, mufat khoro. Not to brag or anything, but News Laundry Hafta features in the top 50 in the world on SoundCloud in the news and politics category for podcasts. So do subscribe and see what you're missing, because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Subscribe, help keep news independent and free. All News Laundry podcasts are available on iTunes and Stitcher and any other podcast platform.